Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
Well, the question of the hour is, are you a morning person or a night owl? Well, a recent study just showed that the early risers, they may have the advantage. What is the advantage? Well, less depression, basically. So does your body naturally wake you up, or do you rely on the sounds and buzzes of your alarm clock? I mean, that is one question that we're going to ask you, another question as well. And if you wake up naturally in the early morning, that means your body is in sync with your daily schedule. And if you're a night owl, like my co-hosts here, Ahmed and Abdul Karim. Hello. It could affect your daily mood, apparently. And it can cause anxiety. And that is according to a new study published in the journal Molecular Psychiatry. And this study basically used sleep data gathered from wrist activity monitors worn by more than 85,000 participants in the UK, which houses in-depth genetic and health information on more than 500,000 Brits. And according to the study findings, those with an inconsistent sleep cycle, a trait usually associated with night owls, they're more likely to report anxiety and depression.
Ooh. I didn't know that was a thing, by the way, natural sleep pattern, that some people are more genetically predisposed to waking up early and others are more predisposed to waking up later.
Yeah.
They also said that social factors play a large role in this. They said the positive outcome for those waking up early, that's attributed to the way our society functions with its 9 to 5 working patterns. I wonder if they adjusted the study based on the job, because a lot of people work unsociable hours. You know, some people have night shifts. That's their job as well. So I find this interesting.
Yeah, I think this aspect of getting 8 hours sleep also is great to get it if you can. Some people can't get it.
Who gets it? Like, if you're a regular person, like working at a real serious office job, I think a lot of people complain about the lack of sleep. Like, that's a thing.
Yeah.
It's just really hard to get your 8 hours of sleep in today's age, maybe.
Yeah, it's difficult, especially for the younger crowd. Let's say the 30s and late 20s. They want to be involved with everything, really.
Right.
And suddenly to be told, okay, you've done your 9 to 6 or 9 to 5, you can fall asleep at, let's say, 9 p.m. Some people are good at this, and you know, us as morning show hosts, we try to sleep early.
But you there's so many advantages for being a morning person and a person that wakes up in the morning, in general, like early morning. You can do so much with your day. You know, you feel like you're prompted like to do so much. You're like, okay, I have so much time. You know, instead of sleeping it off, I'm just going to go and get things done. I'm sure you do that, AK, like very well during your day. You're just like after work. I mean, that's it. You woke up, so you got to finish your day, even though you do you do have other responsibilities after the show. But like, even if you don't, you probably fill up your day with a bunch of activities and productive things to do. I know that about you as well.
Yeah.
So there's so many advantages to it. Like, for example, for me, I consider myself a morning person for sure. I love the mornings. I love breakfast. I love everything about the morning. So this is definitely the job for me. But I notice myself when, for example, during the weekends, some weekends I kind of get lazy and I wake up really late. And when that happens, you cannot even imagine the mood that I will be in.
Oh, really?
Yes. Instantly, it's just like I'm in a bad mood. I feel like I'm not productive. I feel like I'm not doing anything. And instantly, I just call off all the plans that I might be able to do that day because I woke up so late. I feel like, okay, there's no point. I'll just like finish this day and start again tomorrow fresh.
Yeah.
You know, early in the morning. So yeah, I think I don't know, is it the body? Is it a mental state? I don't know what it is, but
yeah, I think
it definitely does.
It does
impact
help.
you.
Definitely does. And this report obviously saying that early birds may not have enhanced protection against poor mental health outcomes if doing shift work, but the report notes that this theory was inconclusive. So what they're basically trying to say is that you're naturally prone to have a better mental health if you are one of those early risers. And if you were to use your Instagram and look at people who are early risers, without telling you the early risers, is by posting wonderful quotes. And they'll post it at their laptop with an amazing backdrop behind them, a sunrise. and they'll put some kind of a very motivational quote and say, "Oh, loving life, and I can never be this happy." And the 5 a.m. runners club, the 6 a.m. runners club, those guys, they're so proud of what they do, but then they're doing it because they're so forced themselves into this routine that if they don't do this, then there's a bit of a problem with their general perception and what they're doing.
But if you engage with them, you'll probably see that they're much healthier and much happier individuals than the rest. The people who rise up early, even if they force themselves.
Or maybe they appear to be very, very.
I feel like it's in this case, it's your body really. It's your body telling
the
you
energy,
your body really controlling this factor, not you. Like, because you're taking care of your body, you're doing the right thing. So, I don't know.
I still think it depends on work. I mean, that's something they talked about a lot in the study. If your sleeping pattern aligns with your job, you're set. You're going to be fine. You're going to have more energy. You'll have more time in the day. If that's not the case, it's not going to be.
That's right. But the higher the misalignment, the higher the depression.
But it's interesting. You noted those people who go to the gym early and like post quotes on Instagram and the hustle culture.
Oh, the hustle culture.
Yeah, and they post pictures of like CEOs. I wake up in the morning, I take a cold shower. I wake up at 4 a.m. and I do yoga. And it's like, I bet every big tech CEO just wakes up at 12 or something, and they have the most relaxed lifestyle. There's some weird culture there. I don't know if it's really connected to I don't know if these people are truly happy. I wish them the best, but it's interesting.
It's such a big deal. This is so embarrassing. I'm going to have to say this, but it's such a big deal nowadays. If you're you're characterized as a morning person or a night owl to the point where it's like a thing now. I have a friend of mine who is not a morning person at all. So she wanted to get married, and then the groom to be or whatever, he asked her, "Are you a morning person?" And she said no. And he's like, "I cannot. I'm sorry."
What?
I swear to God.
That's the most ridiculous thing.
And then she's just like, "What?" He's like, "I cannot be with someone who is not a morning person." It's a thing now.
It's terrible.
It's like a thing that you characterize people by, apparently. You're like, that means you're a lazy person. That means you have more. And he did say that to her.
She dodged a bullet. She's good.
Yeah. But he did say, he's like, if you're not a morning person, you're gonna be more lazy, and you're gonna get less things done, and that means you're prone to being depressed.
Oh,
wow.
So it's a thing now.
This guy.
So they're being very timist.
Yeah.
So the thing is that's. It's true you can get things done and you have more of an energy to do it. And I think with the morning persons or morning people, they have the can-do attitude. Like, they'll do things immediately. They won't say, "Oh, I've just woken up. You know what? Just relax, and maybe I'll postpone it. I'll do it later." They do things immediately. They say, "Okay, khalas, I have a window. I'll do it now." And that's one good perk of it. So get involved, guys. Text lines are open 4215. I know there's a lot of you out there who are commuting this morning and thinking, "Oh,
and get 8 hours of sleep, guys. It's very important. 8 hours. Try to clock that in. I know none of us do it, but we got to do it. It's one of the best projectors of basically physical and mental health.
Inshallah. Let's see. But, okay, guys, stay with us in the morning, Majlis. We've got the news headlines lined up for us, and they're fast approaching, and we shall return right after that, keeping you in a good mood and elevating your morale as well. So do stay tuned to the morning Majlis. Text us on 4215 if you'd like to share your 2 cents worth on the topic of being an early morning person or not, and how you can strengthen your mental health as well. Stay with us. This is the Morning Majlis, only on Pulse 95.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis. Now, we've talked about being a morning person. We've talked about how your mental well-being, it does improve. My mental well-being was improving when I was working from home.
Really?
I didn't have to drive. to work.
Yeah.
That 40-minute commute gone.
Yeah.
Amazing. Get
That's
more
right.
sleep.
That's
I mean,
right.
I have a shorter commute at times with my wonderful neighborhood of Al Hira, but
Oh, right. Yes.
yeah,
Of course.
but,
For you, it's the 40.
for me,
for
yeah.
Ahmed, it's
For
40
me,
minutes.
it's 40 minutes.
Yeah.
but sometimes.
But I'm sure with your Tesla, you can get here in like,
Oh.
25 minutes?
It's such a breezy. I put it on auto drive.
Exactly.
That's what I
yeah,
do.
Yeah.
I know.
but the thing is, you know,
Rich kids here.
Yeah, but the thing is, work from home was great because you could literally be in whatever appearance.
That's right.
You
yeah,
are.
that's an advantage
You
for
just
sure.
get out of bed. You don't have to do your hair. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to. I mean, you can if you want to, especially with radio. We're not nowadays. We're on YouTube Live, so we have to be slightly presentable. But yeah, back in the days when we were producing from home, it was great because it was literally get up. It was early mornings are not the best of all mornings, best of all moments, right? To be pushing yourself and getting energized, but you can make it work.
Yeah. Well, that is the debate now. Working from home versus return to the office. What do you guys prefer? Text us 4215. Join this conversation. For me, I love working from the office.
Yeah.
For sure. You feel like you're more like tidy. You feel like you're more on point, and you just get it out. It's less work actually when you're from the office. For us, at least.
Yeah, it really depends on the profession. So as a radio presenter, you just go in, you do your show in the morning. It feels amazing, full of energy.
Not only that, Ahmed, but also I feel like your boss, not us, but like in general, bosses, if they know that you're working from home, they might overwork you.
They might overwork you.
You know?
Yeah.
So when you get things done, for example, like if you have a 9 to 5 job, that's it. I don't think anybody's going to call you after 5 and they'll be like, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that, unless it's an emergency. But once you're at home, I feel like they tend to have the freedom to contact you whenever they want, because they know you're at home, and they have this thought in their head that, okay, you're comfortable, you're sitting with your family, you're sitting with your kids, so you might as well get things done while you're there.
No, definitely. It really depends on the profession too. So like a software developer, apparently a lot of them prefer working from home, and you can't, obviously it's very reasonable. Why? Because they just have to be on their computer the whole time, so they just don't have to drive for that. So for them, it's a pretty good thing. There are some professions where it doesn't matter if you're working from home or you're working in the office. You're still going to be working from home.
Yeah.
Because like the ad profession, they're always working. They're just getting texted at 10 p.m. Hey, are you going to submit the design or stuff like that?
Like our very own Gabby.
Exactly. So it depends on the profession, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Definitely.
videographer we have.
Definitely it does. And the thing is, when the work from home first started, we were all confused, saying, oh, how's this going to work? And once we got used to it, some people would love to work from home to an extent. When they got the email saying, all of you must return to work, they thought...
I loved it.
You loved it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who would read and say, is there a loophole? Is there something that I could say to my company that will make me continue?
Excuses.
Yeah, the excuses.
Yeah.
So now let's look at the legal perspective.
Right.
Now, shout out to The National, which have come up with this article after consulting and speaking to a number of local employment legal experts.
Heads, yeah.
They do agree, according to the article, that they recognise the improved productivity, but where do we stand in legal perspective?
Well, from a legal perspective, companies, they're well within their rights to tell staff to come back to the workplace, because now the companies, they want their staff back, at least for some of the week. Right? And with many government restrictions now lifted, employees have few excuses, though a recent rise in the cases to 2,000 plus per day calls for caution. But many companies, including their bosses, they have also seen the benefits of working from home with improved productivity and staff on hand for longer hours. But this is a situation now. All employment contracts in the UAE, they include a place of work clause. Listen carefully. Which state that the employee will be working from an employer's premises. And that is according to the employment partner at law firm here in the UAE. So following government directives to work from home to curb the spread of the virus last year, workplaces, they have steadily been allowed to increase the number of occupants. But according to this employment partner at the law firm, she said that in a place like, for example, the neighboring Emirate of Dubai, where authorities are allowing for 100% capacity, a company is in quite a strong position to say everyone must come back to the office. An employee can only legally resist that mandate if they have a valid medical reason that puts themselves and their coworkers at risk. And they would have to be in a very high risk category, like being for example, God forbid, a cancer patient, for example, because then it becomes a health and safety issue. She also said that an employee has no legal grounds for refusing to come back to the office just because they feel like they're more productive working remotely.
Yeah, and there are legal requirements for employers as well. So companies, and this is something that you probably won't hear about a lot in the neighboring emirate because they're back at 100% capacity for both the private and the public sector. That's Dubai. But in Abu Dhabi, they're still doing right now they're doing 60% capacity at government workplaces and 30% in the private sector. So they're absolutely obligated to maintain those capacities at all times. And they're also expected to ensure there's a distance of at least 2 meters between all desks and workspaces. So this ties into whether or not an employer can force you to go to the office. It depends on the capacity at the office, your pre-existing conditions, whether you have a health condition where you might be at risk. All of those factors play into this legally.
Yeah, there's not much to win here. I think we've quickly moved on from the pandemic restrictions. And yes, of course, it is alarming with the cases rising again. They're 2,176, if I'm not wrong, that were reported yesterday. So they are above 2,000 at the moment, and sadly 6 people lost their lives as per the figures yesterday. So yes, if you are concerned about the figures, then you are within your right. But in terms of arguing against whether you want to work from home is going to be a weaker battle.
Yeah.
But you can always speak to your HR, get some form of an exemption, some form of a benefit from them. And if you are one of those people who work completely independently, they don't have a line manager, don't have to report to other team members, and prefer your own little space, then by all means you can consult your HR professional or officers and get things sorted out.
That is the debate now. It's an ongoing debate. It's a global debate, in fact, the work from home versus return to the office debate, and it definitely continues to run on. Earlier this week, it was Apple chief executive Tim Cook who received a backlash from his staff after announcing that he wanted them to return to the office starting September. And according to reports, dozens of Apple employees, they signed a letter expressing their frustration over the instruction to do 3 weeks per day in their offices. They're not happy with it. So without the inclusivity that flexibility brings, many of us feel, according to one of the employees, what they said, they're saying that many of us feel we have to choose between either a combination of our families, our well-being, and being empowered to do our best work, or just being a part of Apple. So as recently reported, businesses here, if we're looking at here in the nation, businesses across the UAE, they're returning to a hybrid, or they're going towards a hybrid working model for the long term as staff return to the office. And definitely a lot of employers see the benefits of it, while some fear losing or failing to attract the brightest talent to companies with more flexible policies. But the final verdict here for me, going back to the office. For you guys, final verdict?
For me personally, I like being at the office. It compartmentalizes things. I do my work, I'm done.
Exactly. AK?
Work from home. Gotta love that. Gotta love the wonderful sanctuary that is your comfort zone, and you can work from there. Amazing feeling indeed. Do text us on 4215 to share your thoughts, and
please do share your thoughts, yes, on this matter.
Yep, and we welcome all opinions, and we promise not to tell your HR officers about what you texted, and have your free space to get involved. Stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We shall return right after the sports headlines, continuing the discussions, and we'll keep you updated with all the restrictions and updates you need to know. This is the Morning Majlis, only on Pulse 95.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
Yes, join the conversation. Text us at 4215, and we're discussing updates on COVID-19 restrictions and rules in line with those as well. So what we know so far is that COVID-19 safety rules have been eased across the country. We got gatherings, events now being allowed, exhibition halls being open to residents and citizens alike. But here's the thing. You have to be fully vaccinated. Those rules remain, and authorities are also stepping up inspections to ensure that residents remain COVID safe. But with that comes a lot of questions. Aside from vaccinations, what do I need to do? When do I get my PCR tests? What's it like in X Emirate or Y Emirate? So we're here to break it down for you throughout this segment. So one of the rules here is that no matter what happens, vaccinated or not, mask use is mandatory. Adequate social distancing and specified capacity at wedding halls, hotels, and parties at home. Those rules are in place. You have to wear your mask.
That's right. And Abu Dhabi in particular, they announced the new COVID-19 measures yesterday to ensure safe entry to malls, hotels, restaurants, and supermarkets. And the Abu Dhabi Emergency Crisis and Disasters Committee actually approved the use of a green pass process exclusively for entry to a number of public venues. And it will be used for access to shopping malls and large supermarkets, gyms, hotels, and facilities within public parks and beaches, private beaches, and swimming pools, entertainment centers, cinemas, museums, restaurants, and cafes. And those regulations, they will come into force starting next Tuesday. That is June 15th. So it's not now, it's not today. June 15th. And earlier this week, as you said, Ahmed, the UAE unveiled this new color-coded system for Al Husn app, setting out how green status is achieved. So people who receive the second dose of a vaccine at least 28 prior will remain green status for 30 days after presenting a negative PCR test. Now, those who have not been vaccinated will be marked green on the app for 3 days, allowing them to enter the above venues for this period. And the committee said that the procedures apply to people aged 16 and above.
It's getting really strict in Abu Dhabi as well. They got the new COVID safety rules starting on June 15. And it's not just events we're talking about. You got to have a green status on your Al Husn app if you're trying to go to shopping malls or large supermarkets, gyms, public parks, beaches, and many more destinations.
Yeah, it's great news because what they've actually done with this new color coding system that they launched is for people who are still waiting on the second dose have a color to look forward to, which is the green color, and it will the green status will last for 14 days. But for the elite, those people who are eligible for the golden star or the E sign because they've done their second dose of the vaccine for over 28 days, their green interface of the Al Husn app will last for 30 days. So that means whenever they go to Abu Dhabi's malls or wherever they want to go, or the parks, they can get easy access. So it gives those who are still waiting for their second dose also chance to be part of the elites. Yes, for a shorter duration, but you can be part of that the green list of people who can enter a particular destination. The other thing is that the rules remain in place for sure.
Yeah.
Even in Sharjah, we've seen that the rules are quite strict as well. The guests at venues, I've been told, to avoid handshakes and hugging each other. Each table is allowed to seat 4 people, and sanitizing equipment should always be at hand. Now, this is according to Major General Saif Zarri Shamsi, Commander-in-Chief of the Sharjah Police, who spoke to local media about these developments.
Yeah, and if you've been vaccinated and you got the Al Husn app and you're trying to maintain your green status, it varies based on a number of conditions and criteria. So if you've had your second dose of the COVID vaccine at least 28 days earlier, or if you had been a volunteer in vaccine trial, then if you get a negative PCR test, your Al Husn status is going to be green for 30 more days. If you received your second dose more recently, less than 28 days earlier, then a negative PCR result will give you that green status for 14 days instead. Now, if you haven't had your second vaccine dose yet and you're still waiting for it, then you get your negative PCR result. You're going to be green for 7 days, while those who've received their first dose and are late to their second dose appointment by 48 days or more, a negative PCR test result will give you the green status for 3 days. So it is a lot to take in, but one thing stands is you get that vaccine shot, at least the very first one, and you'll sort of open up the path to keeping that green status afloat for you to be able to attend events and do things, especially in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, where the green status requirement is in place for larger establishments and malls and such.
Exactly. Well, there is... it is good news for sure, and the restrictions are there for everyone to follow and adhere to ensure that we prevent the spread of COVID-19. Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. Lots to get through this morning, indeed. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can do so on the text number 4215. We'll be back after the news headlines and continuing the discussions here on the Morning Majlis.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse.